Hi everyone, today I'm going to be recreating the painting The Skiff by Pierre-Auguste Renoir. I'll tell you guys some fun facts about him while I paint. Okay, some fun facts about Renoir. So he is known as the painter of happiness. He loved to capture moments and joy and beauty, and you will see a lot of his paintings are of people. So like a lot of social gatherings, a lot of dancing, but not dancing in the way that like Degas painted ballerinas, but just very full of life and very warm. He was influenced by a lot of the old classical painters, so like Rubens and Raphael. So even though he was an impressionist, he does get a lot of his inspiration from those classical painters, and you can see that in a lot of his work. So there's a lot of glow and like a soft quality to his specific style. Now, he also started as a porcelain painter. So Renoir worked in a factory that designed porcelain, so all those little plates and things that have those dainty little designs, you can see a lot of that daintiness in his style. So he does a lot of fine brush work and a lot of small detail, which is different for impressionist artists, but for him, that's just kind of who he was. So you can see a lot of that fine brush work in a lot of his paintings. He was considered to be one of the founders of Impressionism, but he did not always agree with it. And later in his career, he actually developed more of a traditional style, and he worked a lot more on composition. So he switched from fleeting moments to staged moments. And I do think part of that has to do with arthritis. He later in life developed really bad rheumatoid arthritis, so it was hard for him to hold a paintbrush. And I think that did influence his change in style later on, because to be like a true impressionist, or to be part of that true impressionist movement, they were painting fleeting moments, and like he just didn't have the speed to keep up with all of that. He would strap brushes to his hands so that he could keep painting. In his early career, he worked alongside Monet, so he would paint outdoors, and you can actually see in a lot of their works, it's very, very similar, or it's the same scenes, because they would actually put easels side by side next to each other, and they would paint the same scene, but just in their own different styles. Renoir's style, he was very, very soft, very delicate, so he has this little glowing effect on a lot of his work. So Renoir did focus on light like a lot of the original Impressionist painters. He liked to see how light kind of danced across fabric and water and skin, and that was a big part of his style. He also had a very vibrant color palette, so he used a lot of the reds, the yellows, pinks, and just a lot of the brighter blues. It gave a lot of his pieces that very lively look, and it made you feel very warm. So like again, he painted social gatherings, so you could really feel the other people's enjoyment. I do think that that is something that's nice about him. He also has a very loose and flowy technique. So he would capture a lot of movement and a lot of energy instead of this sharp detail. Now, that was kind of more in his beginning works when he was kind of more towards the Impressionist style. Towards the end of his career, it did become very, very tight and very, very staged. So personally, myself, Renoir was not one of my favorites. I do think that he has a nice style. You can see even in this painting how tight his brushwork is. That just isn't something that I really like to see. Also, it is true in a lot of his later works. He really does turn away from the Impressionist style, and he does go into a lot more of a traditional style. His earlier stuff, I do think some of it is good, but it's just not something that I was a huge fan of. I do think he's very good, though. I do think that he played a big part in the Impressionist movement, and if you put his paintings, the ones that him and Monet have that are very similar to each other, or they are the same scene, just different style, you can kind of see what I'm talking about, where he does have a very delicate painting style, and as much as he was an Impressionist and was such a big part of the Impressionist movement, I think that was just something he couldn't get away from. And yeah, and I do think it was sad about the rheumatoid arthritis kind of ruining his career. And I think things like that really do take away from an artist's career, because you have to kind of start over and you have to be able to still create with like such a large adjustment. So learning how to do that again is probably like just learning how to paint all over again. So I can only imagine, and that sucks. But yeah, that's some fun facts about Renoir. Not my favorite, but still very good. All right, everyone, that is it. We post new videos every Tuesday and Thursday. Follow us on all of our social medias linked down in the description below, and we'll see you guys in the next one. Okay, bye. Getting a little slap happy.